introduce Emily. Oh my gosh. You know what? If you want a good act to follow Sarah, Emily's a great act to follow Sarah. So Emily is the CEO and founder of Startup Up Marketing Solutions, which, I mean, congratulations to Emily because it's an award-winning company for social media and SEO. So if you're thinking about that stuff, you guys, I think you need to reach out. She's also an international best-selling author. Now, the topic for today should stop most people in their tracks because I don't think most people know the answer to this question with the clarity they need to, and I'm sure we'll hear from Emily on this. The topic is, do you actually know who your customer is? You may think you do, but I think we're going to get some pretty cool stuff from Emily on this. Something odd about Emily is that she's traveled 30 countries in 30 years. Good for you. Music. I just listened to this one because I had no idea who this was. Kyle Hume, and particularly the song Happy. I was listening to that today. Great song. So now, thank you, Emily, for introducing me to somebody new because I love music. And she's giving away two terrific gifts as well. The generosity just continues to overflow. Talk about abundance, not busyness. It's abundance we experience here. So everyone gets a target audience worksheet. That's awesome because I think we all need to refine our understanding and clarity about our target audiences. And her special gift that, again, stay tuned, because at the end of Emily's talk, I will ask a question and you need to put the answer with your email. For that, she will give you a social media website audit. Oh, for the value of $500. And that's an amazing gift. Emily, thanks for your generosity for both of those. So I'm not seeing, it was just me. Okay, I just realized I switched my screen. There we go.
You're
There you
good.
are. I had me. I was looking at Deb the whole time going, I'm going to be talking to Emily here.
No,
Emily,
thanks so much.
over to you, my friend. Let's hear what you got to say on such an important topic.
Yeah, thank you so much for such a wonderful introduction. And honestly, I cannot take claim that I'm the best person to follow that because I don't think that exists.
I know. I think great.
Thank you so much, Sarah. That was absolutely beautiful. And like, I feel, like we're really going to switch into business chat after I feel like that was such an inspirational chat. But we're just going to talk about good things and how you can make your business better. So hopefully we can stay on that positive energy. So that's awesome. And yeah, just thank you so much. It's so nice to be here on the stage. I'm always in backstage, but always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Here we are, front and center. So thanks for having me. And thanks so much to all the other speakers. It was really nice. I know, Kelly, you mentioned things about supporting each other on social media. Great marketing tips. Always happy to hear people spreading things like that. And yeah, just such great nuggets from today. So thank you. Thank you. All right. So today we're going to talk about, do you actually know who your customers are? So this is something that happens all the time where I ask people, who's your product for? And unfortunately, one of the most dangerous answers is everyone. And I know, there's so many things you can think about where it's like, well, if everyone could benefit from it, if everyone had this in their lives, it would just be so much better. But I think what happens with that is you are essentially creating a marketing strategy about, frankly, no one. So you're just trying to reach every single person in the world. You're not able to actually be like, okay, here's my strategy and here's what I want to talk about. So if you're sitting at home claiming, every single person is my target audience, I just want to reach everyone. I want my ads to be focused on male, female, 16 to 65 in every location in the world. I unfortunately am here to tell you that you are wasting your time and you are wasting your money. And we're going to take some time today to just go through how we can and we cannot waste our time and money on that. So one of the things I wanted to start with was just a few of the hard truths around it. So I find that if you might hear me, oh yeah, it's great to revisit your target audience, but if you don't actually feel how much it's impacting you, then you won't know, you won't be driven to change. So we're going to run through a few little examples here. So essentially, what I want you to think about is if you're running ads or creating content or doing anything like this, and you're not really defining who you're speaking to, you can actually waste yourself so much time and money. So, for example, we run ads for lots of people. And if you pick, we will do a lot of testing for target audience. And what we'll find is you can actually have a certain target audience of, for example, women age 27 to 38 in LA. And we'll find, okay, the cost per click for these ones are about 30 cents. So we're like, okay, great. That's pretty good cost per click, based on what you're selling, everything is great. So we're now running another ad, and it's women in New York at a different age range. And that cost per click is actually $1.45. If you're just running this one ad and you're not testing anything like that, then you're just kind of letting it go and realizing, okay, my cost per click is about $1.45. So if we circle this back to like one day, so in one day you can either spend, $30 and reach 100 people, like get 100 clicks, or you can spend $145 and reach 100 clicks. So if you have something where you're actually, generally speaking, ads are limited by money. So if you're doing $30 a day, then you're only going to reach, so with the one campaign, you'll reach 100 people. With the $130 a day, it'll take you 4 days to reach those 100 people. So if you think about that alone, you could, in theory, 3x or 4x the amount of people you're reaching just by modifying your time and your money to be focused on the group that's actually converting at a lower cost. So very similar situation. If you put one article dedicated to moms out on the internet, and that one leads to 5 calls, versus you do another one that's very pinpointed on divorced moms living in, Toronto, and that gets you 25 calls. Like, where has your money and your time actually gone? So what I want you to do is really make sure that you take it seriously and you take the time to really figure out who your, like we say, user personas is a term we use a lot. So who is that person? We take the time to literally name them. Everyone knows I've got a sort of target audience little gal named Sally. She follows me around. People hear her name and they'll be like, who's this, character? I'm, oh, this is my user persona, floats around with us. But yeah, go so far to name them, to give them a job, to do all that. But don't just make it up. You sort of want to build this character or this person based on what you're actually seeing from your audience. So essentially, we want to think about quite a few different things. So we want to think about where this person is, how old this person is. And I do give you guys worksheets that helps you walk through all of this. So, as much as I love taking notes, you can certainly get these resources after the fact. But yeah, you want to know how old they are, where they are, what they do for work, and then how they actually think, how they feel, what they say, and what they do. So quite a few different things to look at. But if you think of each component, you really start to see how relevant they are to your marketing strategy. So something like age, maybe you're like, well, it helps women of all ages. You're still going to kind of have what I call the super fans. So you're going to have this area of people that really, really benefit the most from your product, or your service. So you want to really identify who are these super fans, who are just like absolutely this is gonna change their life, like genuine. So once you find them, then you want to find out where they are. So this is as simple as, are they on LinkedIn, or are they on Reddit, or are they on Twitter, or are they on Facebook? So you might be just running social media all over. And it is exhausting to do social media on every single platform the right way. A lot of people like to just be there, you like to have an account. Honestly, I would never tell someone, if you really want to be on Twitter, don't be, that's not what I'm here for. But I want you to really make sure that the 2 top social media platforms your people are in, and then focus on those two. If you do have a big, huge marketing team and you can dedicate to more than that, maybe that makes sense for you. But a lot of us here are solopreneurs, small teams. You really want to focus on really giving content to two. So now okay, we've got the age range. We've kind of figured out where our people are. Now you have to think about how they're feeling. So this relates to, are they stressed? Are they seeking more joy in their lives? Are they, even talking to women here, people have very different perspectives. A lot of times you really focus on, I just want positivity in my life. They will actually alter their algorithms to only see positive things. So if you're creating an account and you're constantly putting big red X's, you're saying, stop doing this. If you do one thing today, make sure it's not blank. All that language is actually going to put you in a certain algorithm that's not going to show up for these people that are really focused on just seeing really positive stuff on their content. Whereas you can actually create a strategy where you're speaking about inspirational quotes. Maybe it seems like fluffy, but it's not, because it's reaching those people that care about it. I'm personally someone who loves sharing quotes, and the amount of accounts that I actually connect with just because I'm like, oh wow, that was the inspiration I needed for my day. Let's share this. So that quote was someone's business strategy, and of course I did go and check out what they do and who they are and things like that. And you automatically think, that person's like me, they're similar to me. We both connected on this today. So then there you go. So now you think of something that can be inputted into your strategy. The same thing is with location. So location is really big. So the one that I guess hurts me the most is when you do have a lot of ad spend. And it's very common to not want to limit yourself based on location, but you just can easily spend so much money where it's not making sense. So what we generally do, there's definitely exceptions, but we generally start with where you are. So yes, you want to connect with men and women all over, the world, but let's start with your city. They're going to maybe see you at the grocery store. They're going to see you in other places. Your credibility in that area already is a little bit higher than you in other areas. So running an ad in that location might make a lot of sense, especially if you're someone in service, the business coaches out there, the advisors, financial people, if someone's like, oh, I think I know that person. I think my friend knows that person. Suddenly you have so much more credibility to work off of. Then if you are going to expand, oftentimes expand to something like your province or your state. Don't instantly be like, okay, here's Toronto, here's the whole world, So we want to take that step now. Now we're in your province or your state. Then potentially, gosh, I don't even like doing all of Canada or all of the states, because if you really think about it, each state stereotypically has a little bit of a different vibe, and in marketing, you have to play on the stereotypes. Of course, there's wonderful people everywhere. There's people that are really going to fit within your niche in every province and every state. But where stereotypically will you reach more people of a certain, interest? Even something like if you're doing swimsuits. So we've got a whole bunch of states that are right on the coast of the ocean, and it's hot and sunny all year long. Why would I waste my money on someone deep in Colorado or somewhere kind of in the mountains that's seeing snow half the year, So simple things like that, you can very quickly start to think like, okay, no, geographically, that is going to affect where I'm sort of running my ads and spending my money. At the same time, if you're not someone who's doing ads, joining Facebook groups, networking, going to live speaking events, where are most of your target audience actually going to be? And that's where you want to be showing up. So if you are showing up consistently at the other places, it's when you start to think about how much time are you wasting? How much money are you wasting? If you go to that one event, you speak on that one stage and you get 5 callbacks versus the other stage and you're getting 150 callbacks. And these are true. A lot of you, the women here, have been on stages lots in life, and you go to things and sometimes and you're like, those weren't my people. It was cool, but they weren't my people. But then sometimes inside of us, we say, but you know what, next year I'm going to come back with this message instead, you know? And don't get me wrong, there's a time and place for that. But if you're on a different stage and that stage is making a lot more sense, then why even bother going back to that first stage? You know, let's focus on that second stage and let's, you know, find other places similar. Let's find out what the women at that event, what other stages they're speaking on, because maybe that's going to be more in line. So yeah, so you're hopefully you're starting to see that the more you know about who you're trying to reach, the more it's actually going to affect your strategy as a whole. So what I want, or I've got kind of 3 little tips for ways that you can make sure that you're prioritizing your target audience and like really taking time for this. So the first one is that you need to revisit your business strategy every year. It's just, you know, I'm sure, and we're not going to do a raise of hands here, but I am sure there's lots of us out there that have written that beautiful business strategy. Maybe you worked with tons of people on it. You know, you've gotten like all these people together, written it all out. And how many times have you looked at it since then? You know, so we want to get those business strategies out. We want to really look at what you started with. And we want to look at it every single year. So what I think you should do right now is just pick a day on your calendar. It can be next week, it could be next month, it could be in 6 months, and just add a task or add a little event and just say, go through my target audience. And if you're like me and you're like, that's way too hard to commit to, then you can make yourself a task to make yourself a calendar invite to then go and do this. So really important thing, and just have it as a reoccurring. Every year it's going to pop up and you're going to see, okay, I need to reevaluate my target audience, or I need to check in on it. Another thing that you want to do is adding demographic analysis to your monthly analysis. So everybody has a different way of doing this, whether or not you make a dedicated time and you look at what your sales were every month and you look at your analytics every month, or if it's a little less formal than that. I want you to also look at what types of people you reached. So were a majority of your sales women? Were your majority of your sales men? Were they mostly local? Were they mostly international? You know, who did you actually sell to in the last month? Or who did you have the biggest breakthroughs? Or who did you make the biggest sale to? Or where did you meet the most people? So not just looking at, okay, this was a good month or this was a bad month. It was like, what were the people to actually contribute to this being a good month or a bad month? So how do I reach those same people and multiply them for your next month? So demographics are really, really interesting. If you guys are into the data world, you know that GA4, like the Google Analytics 4, did limit a lot of the demographics. So it is a bit of a shame. However, there is still lots of data on like Meta Business, and just even in the back end of your website. There's so many other places you can find it. So if you do need anything, feel free to reach out. But at the same time, just dig around and you can often find a lot. So making sure you're adding that demographic analysis to your monthly checks. The other like quick thing with that is, if you do find, you know, you do this wonderful strategy session and you find who your target audience was, you want to make sure that that's actually the people you're reaching. So if you find that you think your target audience is, you know, men between the age of 30 and 40, and they all live in LA, and every single one of your sales in the last month came from women in New York, you know, then maybe we need to reevaluate. So don't be worried about changing your target audience. However, don't automatically change your audience because you're like, well, that's kind of who I'm selling to. Because if you truly know, you know what? No, I know that this is going to help women or men a lot more, and things like that, then it's just about, okay, where am I showing up where that is the what place I'm getting sales, and how do I show up in the other location? So don't be quick to change, but also don't be quick to resist, you know, if change is needed. So those are things to keep an eye on. And then with the monthly analytics, don't trust 1 month ever. You know, there is lots of anomalies in the world, and for some reason you could just have hit the right, algorithm or the right people and just had it blow up in a certain target audience. Make sure you're seeing trends. So you really want to focus on, okay, in the last 2, 3 months, in the last 6 months, and then certainly you should do that annual and see who you actually hit in the last year. So cool. And then the last thing is when you're actually making these campaigns. So you've dreamt up, you're going to get 262 women together. You're all going to come together, write a book, all of this. You've got your marketing strategy developed. Take that moment to actually put all the documents aside, turn off the computer and actually sit there and be like, okay, I am now a woman of this age, in this profession. Is this something I actually want? And how am I seeing it? Where am I showing up? What am I doing in this space? Once I've showed up in that space, what do I need to convince me? Am I someone who really needs to see reviews? Am I someone who really needs to see testimonials? Or am I someone that's not going to do this unless it's been referred to me from one of my friends? Do I need a really good referral strategy because I know that that's what's going to run this? So really take that time to just separate yourself from all the checklists and the strategy and just think, as a human being, is this going to be easy? Is this going to be enjoyable? And is this actually going to make sense? So it is super common for us to run into something. You've planned up everything and you realize oh, when you click that first button, it actually doesn't lead to that second button, or that just threw me into a 70-minute video. There's no way I'm ready to commit to that right away, but on paper it looked okay. But when you actually took a moment to step away and stand in your user persona's shoes, then it actually no longer makes sense. So just make sure you take that, taking notes from other people, to take that pause, a business pause as well, and actually see, does this truly make sense based on who I'm trying to reach? So I hope that sort of inspired you to realize, there's so much time and money that can be left on the table if you're not revisiting this. So definitely revisiting this, and some quick, simple tips on how to do it every month and every year. And yeah, definitely download the worksheets. We put a lot of time and love into them to just really help you to be able to do this on your own. So yeah,
awesome, Emily. Pause. We were told about pausing earlier, right? This is a business pause. Take some deep breaths in your business pause.
Literally.
And it's such I know when I first started my my own business, I fell into the trap. Well, everybody can benefit, right? And I know, and even though I started to become more and more aware. No, I have to get more and more specifically targeting, but you still kind of yes, but so it takes some effort. It takes some awareness that yes, I have to get more focused. It's such a good point you raise, and I really, I think it's one of the most important points to understand in marketing. Is you've got to get very focused on who it is you're best suited for, even though everybody can benefit from what you do.
Yeah. You don't have to introduce yourself like this product is only for women between the ages of 26 and 28, but you just want to know if you are committing to time and money and more things like that, that's where you're really focusing your efforts.
Bang for your buck, as you say, right?
100%. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's so important. It's so important. Well, okay, so I have a question to ask everybody so again, Emily is very generously giving everyone a target audience worksheet. So that's going to be a great tool for all of us to be using. And then she's giving for the one person on the draw, the social media website audit, which huge value to that. So